The wheel of the cosmic chariot turned in the heavens atop a fiery pillar. This was the famous axis mundi, or cosmic axis, or world pillar. As Dave Talbot explained in our previous episode, the wheel and chariot did not move anywhere. It simply sat atop a pillar or ladder, representations of the axis mundi. The axis mundi was described as many things, including those listed here. But most of all, the axis mundi atop which the wheel sat was considered a mountain. It was the sacred mountain of all ancient civilizations. Almost every ancient culture had a sacred mountain. The mountain was located at the center of the world in the north and rose to connect heaven with earth. On its peak was the abode of the gods. It was the mountain of God. In the Hebrew traditions, it was Mount Moriah, where Abraham sacrificed Isaac. Later it was called the Temple Mount, the site of Solomon's temple, as well as Mount Zion. It was Sinai, where Moses saw and talked with God. Isaiah called the sacred mountain the Mount of the Congregation, meaning the congregation of the gods, and where God met with his people. In his Psalms, David repeatedly called it the Lord's holy hill. More importantly, it was Mount Zion, the joy of the whole earth, because it was both beautiful and visible to the whole world. One may be tempted to believe that this was merely the naive imaginings of the ignorant ancients, including the Israelites. But the Isaiahs and Davids of the world were neither mystics nor rustic bumpkins. They were intellectual giants among men, and were prophets and seers. Besides, the Lord himself repeated the theme of the sacred world mountain in our day. Repeating the words of the Apostle Paul about the just, he said, "There can be no doubt that there was a Mount Zion, that it was in the heavens, or as the Lord calls it, the heavenly place, and that atop this mountain was the city of God." What's more, the Lord is talking in the future tense, meaning that this mountain will exist once again. In John's Apocalypse, it is on this cosmic Mount Zion that the Lamb will stand with his 144,000. Mount Zion, the heavenly mount, was also the mountain of the prophets. Its summit was the vantage point where the Lord's prophets had their visions. They saw the earth and its inhabitants as the Lord does, upon the mountain and in the city where he lives. Numerous prophets have recorded that God or the Holy Spirit or an angel transported them to a very high mountain, from which they saw transcendent visions. It is from the top of the exceedingly high mountain that the Apostle John saw his apocalyptic vision of the holy Jerusalem descending from heaven. With the explicit and direct connection between the heavenly chariot and the world mountain, it should not be surprising to find that the ancient prophets described the celestial chariots in association with a mountain or mountains. Zechariah's chariots came out from between two mountains. These mountains were either made of or had the color of brass. The world mountain of myth was often duplicated or had two peaks due to the presence of the crescent at the top. The color of the world mountain was often described as metallic gold or brass. The gleaming horns of the Sumerian hymn captures both the twin peaks of the world mountain and its shiny metallic color. Elisha's horses and chariots of fire filled an entire mountain. The prophet Joel's chariots were on the tops of mountains. Neither Elisha's nor Joel's chariots make sense in terms of terrestrial chariots. Terrestrial chariots don't fill mountains. Terrestrial chariots are not driven on the tops of mountains. Terrestrial chariots are designed for speed in open areas, such as plains and wide valleys. The psalmist David captured all the elements of the chariot on the mountain and identified the mountain specifically as the Hebrew axis mundi, that is, Mount Sinai, the mountain of the Lord.